at you with a beer review. Today we've got a beer from Founders Brewing out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's the Founders Porter. I've always wanted to try this, and we've been starting to see more of the Founders beers here. One of the interesting things is the Founders beers are actually less expensive than the Oregon beers. Can't believe it. But hey, it makes it easy to grab a few off the shelf. I've heard a lot of good things about this in the past, never tried it, so let's get it cracked open. I may have poured a little aggressively because we got a little more than a finger ahead on there. But what the heck, it's a beautiful dark beer. You know, it's a nice, pretty dark head at that, mind you, for a porter. That's just beautiful, but it's a dark brown. I wouldn't say that it's black. Let's get the nose. Oh, that's nice. This is an American porter at 6.5% ABV and 45 IBUs, and you can tell it's an American porter. You could tell there's some hop character to this, but it actually has quite a bit of chocolate. I feel like I'm getting both some dark chocolate to milk chocolate. It's hard to say which. I get some vanilla notes. I almost get a little bit of nuttiness on the nose. A light caramel to it as well. You definitely get some of the roast on it. So I think it's pretty straightforward in terms of the nose. We're gonna just dive on in. Cheers. That is definitely an American porter. I mean, you're not gonna miss those 45 IBUs coming off this. The hops are definitely there. They're not overwhelming or anything at all. And they add kind of a grounding type thing, a grounding like earthiness, and maybe a little bit of like a ground coffee effect to it, which is interesting. I think a lot of that characteristic between the hops and the roasted malts is what gives you that bit of coffee flavor, but it's more dominated by the chocolate characters, I'd say. And again, just like the nose, I think I get some dark chocolate. I also get some milk chocolate. What's nice is there's a little bit of a nuttiness to it, and I got a little vanilla in the nose. I think it's there in the taste, but ever lightly so. I almost feel like I get just a hint of some licorice on there. It's a good beer. It's interesting. I've been sipping it for a little while here. I love the lacing and the legs that are left on the glass, but that bitterness really lingers. It's interesting. And it's kind of built up a little bit. So as I said before, definitely an American porter. It turns some of those chocolate flavors into more of like a semi-sweet chocolate, you know, like a bittersweet type of chocolate. Not my personal preference, to be honest. It's a fun beer. It's a good beer. But yeah, for me, I think porters are better when they have a lower bitterness. I prefer maybe a little closer to that classic English style. I'm betting Christian would really be digging on this one though. He does like porters as well, just as I do. This actually, in some qualities, lends a little bit more almost to a stout in some ways than a porter, if you ask me. That higher amount of chocolate character on it, and the mouthfeel is pretty good. It's on the full end of medium. But it leans more towards to what I believe would be just like a regular stout. So how are we going to rate this one? Well, we're going to start off with a porter. I don't know if there's really a category of American porter, but sure, why not? So in terms of porters made in the U.S., how about that? It's pretty good. It's, I think, a really quality made beer. For me, I think the bitterness is high. I know they were probably going for that in their style. They've been making this. It's a year-round beer. They've been making it for quite some time. But it's not going to make it my favorite one by any means. So in terms of porters, I'm going to rate it an 89. I think that it's good, but it's not quite a porter. It's a higher bitterness, and it's a little stouty if you ask me. Overall, it's a different story. I think it's a quality beer. I think it's well made. It is very pleasurable to sip on. So I'm enjoying it for sure. I'm going to go up. I can see why it's a year-round beer, but I'm not going to go up a lot more. I'm going to give it overall, I'm going to give it a 90. I know it can be highly rated by some. I'm digging on it. It's a well-made beer. It's just not that that top-notch beer that I'm always looking for, but I'm enjoying it for sure. This is the Founders Porter from Founders Brewing out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And this is Kevin at Clemens Homebrew saying life's too short to drink cheap beer, and I'll see you in the next beer review.